Hi everyone! Today we're going to be crocheting this really simple working climbing harness for our little elf on the shelf. So depending on how colorful you're making your set, I recommend picking out 3 colors, one for the harness itself, one for the loop that goes into the harness, and then one for the big zip line. You're also going to be needing a size F or 5 or 3 3/4 of a millimeter crochet hook. And check the links in the description for my harness loop and for the zip line. We're going to begin by attaching the yarn to our crochet hook using a slip knot. So take your working yarn and drape it over your tail, pinch that intersection. Then you're going to slide your fingers in your little loop and pull your working yarn up through that loop, releasing the hold on your tail. From here, slide your crochet hook in that loop you created and then tighten down on it. And we want to place 23 chain stitches. So to do that, we're going to yarn over and pull through the loop on our crochet hook. And when you're making these chain stitches, I want you to keep them nice and loose. And that actually goes for all the patterns on my channel. I found that my stitches are much more consistent and clear when I allow my crochet hook to determine the size of them rather than me tightening down after I place the stitch. And once you have your 23 chains, I want you to grab your starting tail and we're just going to fold our chains in half like this. When you do this, it should give you access to the 3rd loop in the back of your stitches. So if you look at your stitch, you'll see that you have the top portion, which is this V right here, and then you have the back side, which has your 3rd loop or back bump back here, this loop right there. So what we want to do is place a slip stitch right here in our very first chain's back bump. And just make sure you haven't twisted your chains before you do this. Once you've inserted your crochet hook in the loop, yarn over and pull through for a slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 1 and then working right back in this current loop where we just placed our slip stitch. We want to add a single crochet stitch. So we're just going to insert our crochet hook back in our current loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, and then yarn over and drop 2 loops to complete our single crochet. From here, you have the option of crocheting over your tail if you would like to, by just lining it up with your back bumps and working over it like it is part of your stitch. You can always hide it at the end if you're more comfortable with that. From here, working in the back bumps of each of our stitch going around our little row here, we're just going to place 1 single crochet stitch. And I'm just going to remind you to keep your stitches nice and loose for the entire pattern. So when you get to the end of your row, you should have a total of 23 single crochet stitches. And when you get to the end of your circle here, it should look something like this. Make sure that you have 23 single crochet stitches and make sure you aren't accidentally counting your slip stitch or your chain in that. So we're going to skip our slip stitch and our chain 1 and we're going to place a slip stitch in our first single crochet stitch. From here we're going to chain 1 and then diving right back into our current stitch, we're going to place a single crochet. Then we want to place 1 single crochet in our next 9 stitches for a total of 10 single crochets. Once you have your 10 total single crochets, I want you to chain 3. Then we're going to skip our next 3 stitches here and diving into our 4th stitch from our current, we're going to start to place 1 single crochet in the remaining stitches in our little row. So this should be 10 additional single crochets. And again, at the end of your row, you're going to skip your slip stitch as well as your chain 1, and you're going to place 1 slip stitch in the top of your first single crochet. From here again, we're going to start our row with a chain 1 and we're going to place 1 single crochet back in our current stitch. and then 1 single crochet in our next 3 stitches for a total of 4 single crochets. From here, we're going to chain 18. Once you have your 18 chains, I want you to count back from your last chain up 12 chains. So 1, 2, then I want you to turn your chains over, and in this 12th stitches back bump, we're going to place 1 slip stitch right here. Then we're going to place 1 slip stitch in the back bump of the remaining chains until we make it back to the main part of our harness where we were just working. So this should be a total of 7 slip stitches. So make sure you're working in the same direction that you were when we started this row, and starting in the next stitch over, we're going to place 1 single crochet in our following 6 stitches. So at this part, you should be back to our little chain loop that we created in the last row. We're going to place 3 single crochets over our chains. So we're not working in the stitch, but instead we're going to work between the chains and the main part of our harness right here in this very large gap. So slide your crochet hook in this big hole, yarn over, pull up through the large hole, and then yarn over and drop your 2 loops. So we're going to place a total of 3 single crochets inside of our big hole like this. So next we're going to place 1 single crochet in our following 6 stitches. After you have your 6 single crochets in place, then we're going to chain 18. And again, we're going to count back 12 stitches from our current stitch right here. And in the back bump of our 12th stitch, we're going to place 1 slip stitch to create a little loop here. Just like that. And then working in our remaining back bumps until we get back to the main part of our harness, we're going to place 1 slip stitch. And the tighter that you make your chain stitches, the harder these little slip stitches are to place. Just keep that in mind. And again, double check that you're working in the same direction you were before you placed your little loops here. And we're going to place 1 single crochet stitch in our following 4 stitches. And this should get us back to the end of our row. From here, make sure you skip your slip stitch as well as your chain 1, and diving right back into the first single crochet of our row, we're going to place a slip stitch. So this fits great, so I'm going to take it off of my elf and I'm going to cut and tie off my yarn. And from here, we are going to hide our tails on the inside of our little harness. And so now we have our fully functioning crochet harness. And don't forget to check out the links in the description for my add-ons to this, as well as the entire Elf on the Shelf set. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to crochet with me. I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.